I'm en route to the National Railroad Days festivities. The National Railroad Days happens every year on May 10th to celebrate the driving of the Golden Spike at Promontory, Utah. That's Promontory Summit, Utah, which is often misreported as Promontory Point, Utah, but it's Promontory Summit, Utah, which is about 30 miles from there. Promontory Point's in the middle of the Great Salt Lake. Why would somebody drive a Golden Spike in the middle of a lake? At any rate, they did at Promontory Summit in 1869, joining the Pacific to the Atlantic, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't actually join the Pacific to the Atlantic. It joined Sacramento to the Atlantic. Sacramento, last time I was there, was not actually on the Pacific coast, but it's darn close to the Pacific coast, and so that makes all the difference. At any rate, this is the big festivities, and we are not, repeat, not heading to Promontory today. We're going instead to Ogden, Utah, the site of the Utah State Railroad Museum, which is a really cool place. They have a great collection, and they're restoring some locomotives there, and so on and so forth. It's just this really fun place. So they've got doings going on today, both there and at Promontory. Ogden became incredibly significant after the driving of the Golden Spike because that became the actual division point. They drove the Golden Spike at Promontory, and immediately after that, under congressional decree, the actual meeting point was officially moved from there to Ogden because having a division point in the middle of nowhere didn't make any sense at all. So under various negotiations and plea bargains and whatever else went on, it was decided that as soon as the railroad was completed, that they would remove the division point and it would become Ogden, Utah. And so that's where the Utah State Railroad Museum is at Ogden, Utah, and that's where we're headed. The Ogden Museum has an incredible collection of huge Union Pacific locomotives. The Union Pacific favored really large engines because of the steep hills and long distances that they needed to cover. Number 26 here, a turbine engine, was one of the somewhat experimental turbines built by the Union Pacific. This is one of the 8,500 horsepower turbines, and these were among the largest locomotives ever built. The collection also includes one of these incredible DD-40X locomotives. These were some of the largest diesel engines ever built, and one of the UP Steam Northern engines, 833. Its twin engine, 844, is often seen running on the Union Pacific to this very day. There are also some smaller engines in the collection, as well as some other interesting equipment like this huge steam-powered snow blower, a rotary snow plow, and this interesting steam-powered wrecking crane. The Union Pacific also sent in a couple of modern diesel engines painted after the railroads that they have absorbed. They tend to loan very interesting things to the museum from time to time. To this day, the Union Pacific maintains a small fleet of steam locomotives. This huge Challenger-class locomotive is the largest currently operating steam locomotive in the world, and it tends to pop up now and then at these shows in Ogden. That footage is from one of my early Madame Wu videos, Return of the Challenger. The railroad is also restoring a narrow-gauge Rio Grande steam engine.
I'm Maynard Morris, kind of the project engineer on this. We're building 223 to run again. When we got it, most of the wood was rotted out and light sheet metal was rusted out. We move pretty slowly, but the tender tank is 99% complete. We've tried to do everything they do in the old days. Most of the new tanks you see, the rivets are glued on or welded on. These are actual rivets. They go all the way through, and that's what holds it together. The tank is essentially built. It's designed so it can roll right outside. It'll be put in storage, and the locomotive will come inside with the boiler off.
I was actually on hand for moving this locomotive from Salt Lake to Ogden some 15 years ago to start the restoration. It'll sure be incredible to see the thing running again. Well, there you have it, another fun day out at the Ogden Museum. The Ogden Museum is a little bit of a sleeper. Not a lot of people know about it, not a lot of people go there, but you should check it out if you find yourself in the area, because it's well worth the visit. And they do have some fun events there over the course of the year, like the train days today. The 223 restoration project is a real gas. Look for them on the web. They have their own web page there as part of the Ogden Museum. You shouldn't have any trouble finding it. And follow along with their restoration. Interestingly, I built a model of the 223 some 15 years ago, and the paint job and details that I put on my engine are exactly the way they're building the engine, circa 1933. The engine was in service for a lot of years and appeared in a lot of different variations over those years, but it's kind of fun to see that both they and I hit on the exact same time period to detail and paint the engine for. It was a very attractive point in the engine's life. Well, do subscribe to the channel and like me on Facebook and so on and so forth. Tell your friends all about it. I don't know how you found me on the internet, but I hope you didn't find me boring, and I'll see you here again soon.